Hi creatives, Dimma here. You're welcome to another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be sharing with you how I drafted this bustier gown. Armhole princess Dart Bustier gown that you can see on the screen is really an interesting one, and you will want to see the whole process of drafting this. In my next, we will be putting this dress together. So without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it. Here is the fabric I'll be using. I'm using a damask fabric and a chantilly lace. Here is the chantilly lace. The damask fabric is actually in pieces. It's my client's sister's dress and she wants to use the remain of the damask to make a dress. Okay, let's see how we're going to work this out to make the gorgeous gown we saw at the beginning of this video. So right here I am taking the shoulder measurement. Your shoulder measurement divided by 2, that is what you're going to take here. If it's 16, you're going to take 8 inches from the beginning of that paper, and then I squared it down. Okay, now the next thing to do is to take the bust measurements. Bust measurement divided by 4. If the bust is 40, of course you're going to divide by 4 to get 10, and that is what I am taking here because this is cut on fold. I'm also squaring this down. Now this is the next step that I took. There is no definite order to this. Go ahead and take any sequence you feel free and okay with. Now what I'm taking here is the basic neck measurement, which is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches, and that is me drawing the neckline like so. Now the next I took here is the half length, which is 18 inches. Feel free to use your clients or the half length of the person you are making the dress for. For my client, it is 18, so I am just taking that 18 level and I drew a line across there. Here is the shoulder slope, which is 1 inch, and I just connected to the neck line. Okay, so right here is the across chest, that is 5 inches drop, and I am taking the across chest there. So anything that is your across chest measurement, put it there, and then the next we are going to do is to go ahead and draw the armhole. Okay, I will be linking up in the description box how you will be very clear with this basic process. In case you are not very clear with it, I have a tutorial on basic pattern making. Okay, just in case you are confused at any point. So right here I am dropping the neckline where I am comfortable with, because the neckline is that is the sweetheart neck. So I dropped it by about 5.5 inches from the basic neck, and I am taking a point which is 5.5 as well from the slope of the shoulder, and I'm trying here to, like, what I'm doing here is to draw the sweetheart neck. I tried to use my pattern master to give that curve, but it didn't give me what I wanted, so I had to drop it and continue with my freehand drawing, and that gave me the perfect curve that I wanted. And here it is. That's the shape of the sweetheart neck that I want. So the next thing to do is just to take the bust point. Bust level here is about 11 3/4 inches, yeah, and the bust is about 7, and what I took there is 3.5. That is bust to bust divided by 2. I took the same measurements on the waistline, and here I dropped by 1 inch from the bust point, and I am drafting my dart leg, which is 1/2 inch on both sides. That is 1 inch dart on that waistline. Okay, I hope you understand. So right here I just took a measurement of about 3 1/4 inches, 3 inches to 3 1/4 inches, and that gave me the under bust, but feel free to use your client's under bust here. So here I marked 3/4 and 1/4, yeah, and I connected to the dart leg like so. Here you can see it's 1/4 inch away from the dart leg, and this other side is exactly at the dart leg. I hope you understand. So that is it for this very one, and I connected this to the bust points like so using my pattern master, and this other way to the bust point as well using my pattern master. So this is what I have. The next thing I am going to do is to take the curve, because it's going to be a princess cut. It's going to be armhole princess cut bustier, and this is how I connected it to the armhole. There's a reason why I took it like that, and you're going to understand all this by the time we start putting the dress together. Here I dropped it by 1 inch and I connected and I extended the line by 1 inch. If I lift this pattern master, you see the extension there. Yes, so I'm taking that 1 inch and I will smoothen it to the armhole. So this is what I just did. I connected it to the armhole. I'm just using my pattern master to give a smooth curve there, and yes, that is what I have. And here I'm drawing the side bust darts. That is just what I'm doing here, and that is about 1.5 inches. That is the difference between the front and the back half length. I'll link up in the description box the basic bodice block or torso foundation making, and you will be clear with all of this. So here is the pattern, and everywhere I'm shading here will be going off at the end of this pattern making. Here is the hip level, and I took about 8 1/4 to 8.5 inches from that waistline. That is the hip level, okay? And here I'm taking the waist measurements. Watch closely to see what I am doing. Waist measurements plus dart intake. That intake is 1, but remember that we added quarter again when we were connecting to the under bust. That means the dart intake here is 1 1/4. And what I did is waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 1/4. Now I'm connecting the waist to the hip line, okay, the hip point, and that is what I have here. Here I have to go ahead to get to my this is the hip. I'm just making sure it is exact measurement, and here I marked the knee measurement, okay, and that is hip minus 2. Hip measurement, if it's 40, you'll be using 10. 10 minus 2 is 8, and that is what I used at the knee level. The measurement of the knee that I used here from the waist is 8 inches dropping, like lengthwise is 8 inches from the waist. The hip is 8.5 inches from the waist, sorry, and the knee is 18 inches from the waist. I hope you understand. So right here I am just going ahead to draw the back pattern. I've drawn the shoulder measurement and squared down just like in front, and I've also taken the basic that I want to use for the back. Yeah, and what I used here is 3 1/4 by 1 1/4. That's what I used for the back. Okay, now I took my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch, and I am going ahead to take the bust measurement here. If your bust is 40, divided by 4, which is 10, and that is what I'm taking here, you just simply square it down like so. I'm using my pencil and my pen to make the lines clearer. So here I'm taking the back half length. The front is 18, the back is 16.5, which is 1.5 inches less than the front half length, and that is why the side bust dart is 1.5 inches. Okay, so right here is the across back. I just came in by half, and I will be drawing my armhole. Please feel free to click the link in the description box to watch the full tutorial of basic torso foundation, just in case you are not very clear with this basic part of this tutorial. Now here I'm just taking, I just want to give a mark to draw the yoke line off for the back. Is going to be V-like, and that is what I'm just marking, the yoke styling. So having drawn the yoke styling like so, I will go ahead and do the back tightening, and that is what I'm doing here. I was trying to decide whether I will use half, 1/4, or 3/4, or 1 inch, but I finally used 3/4 inch tightening. Okay, so right here from that 3/4 inch, I will measure the waistline measurement plus the dart intake from the tightening, please, not from the fold now. So I'll also go ahead and draw a little opening here, because here I was considering leaving an opening at the back there on the yoke of the back. I'm not very sure of what the yoke style will be there at that center back. So yeah, now I took the hip level, which is about 8 1/4 to 8.5 inches, and I am drawing the hip point. The next thing is to connect it with the pattern master to the waistline, like so. You connect the waist and the hip, like so. Now I have to go ahead to measure the lower part of this, which is about 18 inches from waist to knee, and I will draw a horizontal line across like this. Beautiful. So right here is the hip measurements. I am also going in by that center back along that knee line by 1, and from there I will measure the hip measurements minus 2. I hope you understand. And when I put the point, I will connect to the hip like so, and that is all. Just in case this is not clear, I will also link up in the description box the skirt, basic skirt foundation, so that you will be clear, very clear with everything that I did here. Here I'm connecting the back tightening to the skirt part, and also connecting, you can see I had to go in there at the knee line by 1. You can see it clearly now. And here is the back tightening. I'm connecting from the hip to the back tightening. That is the hip, and yes, the pattern is almost ready, but then I have to cut it out. But before I do, I have to modify the neck of the back a bit. I will also do that for the front. I have to go in by 1 inch there to widen the neck, and this is what I have. I had to widen the neck like so, and this is what it gave me. I will be cutting it out like this. So when I get to the front, I will also modify the front neckline. So here I've cut out the back, and I'll keep it aside as I go on with the front. Now this is the front neckline. I have to go in again here by 1 inch, just as I did for the back. And aside that, I will also drop the neckline of the front further by about 1 inches. That is all I did, and I'll be connecting the 2 points like so. Now this is to ensure that the yoke or the neckline of this is not right at the neck and uncomfortable. Since it is not a tuxedo neck, there is no need leaving it at the neck, except your clients wants it just at the neck like a basic neckline. But if not, you have to give the space, the breathing space there. So now this is how I am doing for the princess dart cut, and this is what it gave me. I've cut out the front and the back pattern, and this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and divide it into parts and go ahead with the pattern modification. Here I had to keep the upper part aside to cut the skirt. Now this is the skirt. I'm going ahead to cut the basket first, then the front part of the skirt. I placed it and pinned it down. Of course, you know that the skirt length is to the knee, somewhere slightly above the knee. That is 18 inches from the waistline. So it's definitely not the length of this gown. I'll be making up the length as I cut right now. That is just a landmark I took that will be okay for the paper I was using. So here I'm just adding up the remaining lengths. Just add up the length as you desire. So here I've gone ahead to cut the back. Now I'm going ahead to notch. I'm notching the zipper side and also using it as the hip level as well. Hip level notch. And this is the allowance that I took. I am also notching it so that when I'm joining this glue together, it will be very, very easy. So right now I'm going to go ahead and cut the front part. This is the pieces remaining from the dress I just concluded, and I am making it for another client who is also a sister to the person these pieces came out from her clothes. It wasn't enough, so I had to join it, right? I joined it and then cut out the front part. You can see the joining there. You can actually use something to design along that line just to make it look stylish. So now this is a chinox material that I'll be using for the upper part. I want the upper part to have a sort of nude look under the chantilly. Now that is why I am cutting with this chinox fabric that is almost like a nude color. Here I'm closing up the side bust darts, the 1.5 inches the side bust darts. I'm taping it down with my masking tape, and that is it. I will go ahead and trim out the remaining parts of the center front. Now this center front, I'm not going to cut out the yoke right now. I will first of all cut it like this on chantilly before I trim it out to cut on the chinox. So I will not be cutting the lower part right now till I cut the chantilly. So for the back, I am also cutting this lower part. Of course, the upper part is the chantilly lace, the yoke. Just watch closely, you will understand all I am trying to explain. I'll just go ahead and pin everything down, secure it properly, and go ahead and cut it out with the appropriate seam allowances. So right here is 1/2 inch, and along every other part, including the bust area, is 1/2, apart from the side, which I added about 1.5 or 1.25 inches. Okay, so the same thing with the back. Aside the zipper allowance and the side, the other sides are 1/2 inch seam allowance. Here I'm just going ahead to put the notches where the seam allowances are, so that when I'm putting it together or joining it, it will not be an issue to figure out where the seam allowances are. I'm also going ahead to notch the bust point on the bust and the seam allowances for this part of the pattern as well. So that is just what I did. I marked it with the chalk, and I'm going ahead to notch all the necessary places, the bust point, the underbust, and every other part that I need to notch for easy sewing. Okay. Now, having done that, I will go ahead and bring the chantilly lace, because I need to cut it on that center front before I can divide the pattern further to cut the center front from the chinox. Okay, so I'm checking where it stretches more, because where it stretches more should be the horizontal part of this fabric, and having discovered it, I have folded it where it stretches, and I will go ahead to cut this out. Here I've placed the center front like so, and I'm pinning it down. Having pinned it down, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out using my scissors. Okay, I will also be placing this because the chantilly lace will be on top of all of this. Okay, I did not cut the center front with the chinox first because I need the whole pattern first for the chantilly lace. You will understand by the time we join this clothes together, which will be in my next tutorial. So right here I've cut it out with the seam allowance, which is 1/2 inch, as you can see, and I'll go ahead and notch the underbust, the bust point, and every other notch that need to be added to this pattern. Okay, now I'll keep this aside, and I'm going to cut out the yoke. I hope you understand now. Now, using this lower side, I'll be cutting it on chinox after I'm done with cutting the chantilly, because I never cut that center front with chinox. Okay, I hope you understand now. So right now I'm cutting out all of this on the chantilly lace, and this is what we have. I'll go ahead to also cut the back yoke. Guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel till now, what are you waiting for? We share lots of fun, educative sewing tutorials on this channel, and you will not want to miss any part of it. Trust me, you will not want to miss it, because each tutorial have something striking that you will learn from it. Always, always. So click on the subscribe button and do not fail to turn on your notification bell to be the first to be notified each time I upload my videos. So here are the patterns, and I am going to go ahead and cut the center front with the chinox, because that is what is remaining right now. So I'll bring back the chinox fabric and I will be cutting it on the center front, just like so. Okay, and this chinox material stretches horizontal wise. Okay, that is width wise. So right now I'm cutting it out with the appropriate seam allowance, which is 1/2 inch, and then I'll keep it aside and put the notches. Of course, I don't miss my notches because you need this to have a perfect stitching. Very, very important. You can't stitch blindly. So this is what I have right now. I will also be making use of this nude mesh. I'll be cutting all of this on nude mesh. So right now I'm going to cut the lining and also cut the nude mesh where appropriate. This net, the chantilly lace, will be blinded with nude mesh. Every part of the chantilly will have nude going on around it somehow. Trust me, you will always have something new or striking to learn in each tutorial. And that is why you don't need to hesitate to subscribe to this channel and click on the notification bell as well. So here I have gone ahead to cut the lining, and this is what I have. I've cut the lining of the skirt as well. You can see that it is not as long as the skirt because I'll be using interfacing on the skirt. I will be applying hairstay to the downside, the skirt part of this dress. I hope you understand. So here I've also gone ahead to cut the nude mesh or nude net on all the chantilly patterns. I cut it exactly. You will understand as we progress with this tutorial. The sleeve part of this dress will be treated in the next tutorial, the stitching part of the dress. This is what I have. I've applied interfacing to this. I applied hairstay, of course, as I said earlier. And here I've also applied interfacing. I used very light pepper gum. That's what I used here, but I doubled it because it will have boning, light boning on it. This gown has light boning on it. You can see the interfacing for yourself. Here I used hairstay. I used hairstay for the fabric part of this. That is the chinox part. And on the lining, I used the pepper stay, but I did it double because the lining will be carrying the ridgeline bone, light ridgeline bone. Okay, so this is all I have for this. You can see I use the chinox here for the lining of the center front because the lining fabric was finished. You can see the skirt part of the fabric. The upper part I also used pepper stay to interface it, and I doubled it as well. I ensure that it's stretching because the lining is as well stretching. I didn't want to use the part that does not stretch so that it does not affect the stretch of the fabric. I hope you understand. So that is all I did here, and this will be the inner lace corset, and that is what I have here. I also have a tutorial on this. I'll link it up in the description box, how you can make inner lacing, inner corsets for any dress at all. Okay, so here is the dress, but the whole process of finishing this dress is not treated in this tutorial. I will treat it in my next, and you will not want to miss it. This is how gorgeous it came out, the sleeve and everything, which I will treat in the next tutorial. I will treat everything. Thanks guys for watching. Love you all, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.